Good morning again, and welcome to the Fast Chat. I am Rochelle Butler, Energy Manager with the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm super excited to be with you this morning. First off, happy Black History Month, and also happy Valentine's Day. It's unbelievable how quickly this year is just flying by us. Before we hop into it this morning, we've got to take care of our housekeeping. Please make note that all of your microphones have been muted upon joining the call this morning. This is simply to minimize background noise. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to submit them using the chat box at any point during the presentation. We'll make time at the end of the call to address any of your questions. Next, I would like to remind everyone to please connect with us. You can find the SJV CEO on Twitter, Instagram, and Spotify. You can also find us on any one of our platforms, such as the Funded Fast Chat, of course, our blog, EE, where we feature articles on what's going on around the partnership, workforce development, as well as technology in the energy efficiency space. Also, our newly launched Pod EE, which features the audio version of many of the articles that we publish. You can access any of these resources by going to our website. That's www.sjvcleanenergy.org. And with that, we are finally ready to jump in. So in light of so many changes going on around us in the energy efficiency world, specifically the fact that OBF is going to look a little bit different this year. I know I just did an update on OBF a couple months back, but that's how quickly things can change. For those who may not be aware, OBF, also known as on-bill financing, the on-bill financing program, it will essentially only be accessible through one of the third-party programs if you are in PG&E territory. So there won't be any opportunities to use it to fund non-incentive projects or even really smaller projects. So we're having to be a bit more creative in terms of our energy efficiency loan opportunities. In my research for other opportunities, I came across RCAC. RCAC stands for the Rural Community Assistance Corporation, which was established in 1978. They are a certified community development financial institution, or CDFI for short. They also have their California lender's license through the California Department of Business Oversight. They finance affordable housing, community facilities, utility infrastructure, and small businesses. And they specialize in doing so in rural communities, which is awesome. And they also have $130 million in lending capital that's available. Before I go too much further down the rabbit hole, though, I do want to point out that we had a fast chat recently. Well, we did a fast chat recently on a related program, and that program is called the USDA Community Facilities Direct Loan Program. That was fast chat number 26. If you would like to take a moment and listen to that fast chat, I'll be sure to include it in the link to our follow-up email after this call. Okay, so what kinds of loans are offered through this program? Well, there are two categories of loans. There are short-term loans and long-term loans. Short-term loans are normally for between 1 and 3 years. And under the short-term loan category, we have 3 different types of loan products. We have feasibility loans, acquisition loans, and construction loans. Feasibility loans are to assist organizations with discovering if their project is feasible. I know that sounds obvious. However, when organizations have to do like highly technical things such as things that would require a consultant, such as environmental reviews or market studies, just to name a couple. These loans are normally for about $10,000 or less. They are unsecured, usually in the form of a promissory note. They carry a 1% fee, and the project must be eligible for long-term financing from a governmental or other source. So ideally, they want you to use this type of loan to address barriers to entry for some of the larger programs. Acquisition loans are mainly to assist in the acquisition of real property. So if that's part of your project that you want to execute, specifically in the cases where the organization needs bridge funding to begin a project. So these loans are generally for up to the appraised value of the site plus the loan fee of 1%. They are secured by a lien on the real estate that is acquired. The terms are for 3 years or less, the same as I mentioned earlier. The borrower can finance the loan fee as well as the interest reserve, which is pretty convenient there. And finally, RCAC may subordinate to a construction lender. This means that they will take a lower priority for repayment in terms of an organization's creditors in the event that an organization becomes insolvent. The last short-term loan product is the construction loan. It's fairly self-explanatory, but these loans can be for up to $3 million. The terms are actually tied to the construction period. So the length of the loan is tied to the construction period. These fees are 1% plus 0.25% on the construction cost. Okay, now for the long-term loans. Long-term loans can be for up to $6 million, and they are also secured by a loan on the real estate where the project is located. The loan must meet the USDA Guaranteed Loan Program requirements. They also have a 1% fee, and the interest rate is determined at the time of the loan closing. However, they are dictated by the market rates for these types of loans, so they're very closely tied to the market. Finally, the loan terms are for 30 years or the expected useful life of the equipment or the project. So who's eligible to apply? Local governments are eligible to apply. Nonprofits bearing the 501c3 IRS distinction are also eligible to apply. And lastly, federally recognized tribal governments are eligible to apply for these loan products. RCAC actually has a whole portfolio of different loan products that they offer, many of which are offered as part of a public-private partnership with the USDA. I'm not going to highlight all of them because it's a pretty extensive list, but I'm going to mention just a couple that I think are most applicable to our audience. One of them is the Re-Emerging Loan Fund, which provides financial assistance to small businesses to re-emerge into their markets after COVID. I know that was really devastating for a lot of small businesses and continues to be. So those loan products are available. The Affordable Housing Loans Program provides financial assistance to nonprofit developers, local government agencies, and tribal governments to provide affordable housing for low-income families. We do have some local government partners out there that actually own affordable housing, so this may be of interest to them. Also, the environmental infrastructure loans, which are geared towards financing for water and waste facility products. This program provides financial assistance for the early stages of project feasibility and development prior to receiving the state and federal funding. And finally, the community facility loans, which is the primary topic of this current Fast Chat. So now let's talk about application criteria. I know that's the fun stuff. A complete loan application is the first step to receiving these funds. There's also a checklist that you can find on RCAC's website. I'll be sure to include a link to that as well on our follow-up email so you can take a look if you have a moment. I'm not going to list out everything here because, again, it is a fairly lengthy list, but just to mention a couple of items so that you can get an idea of what they'll be looking for. Aside from the loan application itself, they'll also be looking for a resolution to borrow and an assurances statement for nonprofit corporation applicants. These are all RCAC forms. They will also be looking for a completed environmental questionnaire, as well as some information about your organization itself. Also, if your project is what they call a green build, it will qualify for priority lending. What is a green build? Well, RCAC has like a list of what are essentially measures, energy efficiency measures. And I do have a link to the complete list of those measures that we'll be sending out in our follow-up email. However, a project must have at least 5 of those items on the list included in their project plan to qualify for priority lending under the Green Build designation. These measures include items such as solar, window glazing, low flow water features and landscaping, and high efficiency lighting. Again, that is not by any means an exhaustive list. We'll make sure that you get your hands on that complete list after the call today. And finally, one of my favorite things to do during the Fast Chat, I'm going to talk through a couple of examples of projects that have actually been completed or initiated using the specific program that we're presenting on. More importantly, I like to highlight projects that are either completed by one of our partners or that were completed in a community that's similar to the communities that we work in. So I found projects in Plumas, Humboldt, and Merced counties. The project in Plumas County was done on the Eastern Plumas Healthcare District, or EPHCD, which is located in Portola. Plumas County has been experiencing a behavioral health crisis. The opioid crisis hit Plumas County disproportionately harder than other counties in the state. In addition, Plumas also had high rates of things like dementia, depression, and anxiety. Their healthcare facility was ill-equipped to deal with this public health crisis, so they sought to expand it and remodel it. While EPHCD applied for and received public housing, public hospital redesign and incentive in Medi-Cal, or PRIME for short, these grant funds, they had applied for and received those grant funds. The loan from RCAC provided the short-term bridge funding that was needed after the start of construction until they actually received the grant funding. So it was kind of a lifesaver in the case of this project. Their RCAC loan was for $2.8 million for these purposes. Next, we have a project in Garberville, which is located in Humboldt County. The Garberville Sanitary District needed a new water storage tank, and they used RCAC funding to complete that project. Garberville is a small, unincorporated area with a population of about 900 people. It's also considered a disadvantaged population due to the median household income. Garberville Sanitary District operates 4 water storage tanks, one of which developed a major leak in 2014, which was in turn reported to the California State Water Resources Control Board. Now, Garberville did not have the financial resources to replace the tank, and attempting to obtain the funding through the U.S. Department of Agriculture actually turned out to be both cost prohibitive, and it would take too long to replace the tank within the required amount of time. So they were able to obtain the $500,000 loan that they needed for the new storage tank from RCAC through the Environmental Construction Loan Program. And since they had borrowed money from RCAC in the past, it was a relatively seamless process. Okay, the last example I have here was a project in Merced County. This is a brand new construction project in Livingston, which is actually about 16 miles north of Merced County. The funding was provided as part of the public-private partnership between RCAC and the USDA Rural Development Loan Program, which is called the Community Facilities Relending Program. They were able to provide $6.6 million for the construction of this new facility. Livingston and Merced County, as many of you are already aware, are very agriculturally centered areas, and much of the workforce is employed through the agriculture industry, and they tend to earn lower wages. This project replaces a facility that was too small to meet the needs of the community, and it provides healthcare, dental care, as well as other important services to patients regardless of their ability to pay. So that's pretty amazing. And that wraps up what I have for everyone this morning. I'm going to pause here for just a quick second and allow you all the opportunity to submit any questions you might have into the chat box if you haven't already done so. And while you are working on doing that, I would like to remind everyone to please look out for our follow-up email later on today. That email will include a link to the recording of this presentation, as well as links to any resources that I mentioned throughout the call. That includes any related fast chats that I mentioned earlier. Please also take a quick second and add us to your email contacts list. We want to be sure that you're receiving our communications so that you can stay up to date on what's going on with the SJV CEO. That email is info@sjvcleanenergy.org. One more time, that's info@sjvcleanenergy.org. Now I'll take a quick peek at our chat box and see if we have any questions. And I don't see anything popping up in our chat box, so I'll go ahead and close this out. I highly encourage everyone listening, please share the fast chat with your friends and your colleagues. You never know how this information might benefit someone or how it might even inspire ideas for new projects. Our next fast chat is already on the calendar for March 9th at 10 a.m. and we're going to be announcing that topic very soon. Thank you all, and I hope you enjoy a wonderful week and stay safe out there.